Can we get that? Can we get some action theme music?
Right?
We are all right, guys. We are live tonight with Jeannine the Machine as the Machine Appreciation Week continues here on Call to Action. And with me, we also have who do we have on today with us?
Oh my gosh. Hey guys, thanks so much for having me back. It is Mac, and I'm super psyched out of being away for like a month, I feel like. And it's been cry-worthy watch, you guys. So I was just like, now that I'm back, I am so ready. I'm so ready. Jeannine. Holy cannoli.
Hello.
We are excited, to put it mildly. I am psyched. I was not in the States to watch you in these fantastic matches. But when I was like watching these, I'm like, this no competitor deserves better, honestly. You know, you're
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're definitely one of the, not only just like a fan favorite, I feel like, in the league, but, you know, obviously you're one of the competitors that no matter what, we can always get behind. Like, you're always so genuine, so awesome. And it's like, you're really like a, like, it's obvious you care.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that so much.
You're obviously one of those competitors that care. You were like, whatever, you know, but yeah, you were definitely in it to win it from the very beginning, which we all love. So.
Thank you. Well, I've been a fan and I'm still a fan, even as a competitor. So I think that plays a lot into how I feel about this game.
Yeah. I mean, you've been a fan for a long time. You know, I mean, how long have you been a fan of the Schmoedown in general, Jeannine? Like, how long, like, when did you start watching Schmoedown?
Dan's first. I was a Screen Junkies fan.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, Jeannine, you're breaking up a little bit.
Okay, we have some.
So Schmoedown, I was like, I love Dan. Oh no. Okay. So I started as a Screen Junkies fan. So seeing Dan jump from that to Schmoedown, I had to see what he could do because I knew him to be great in movie fights. And so that was kind of, So seeing him and how great he was, that really got me into it. And I have always been a fan of movie trivia, but just seeing how kind of even the buildup of that match, them kind of making, you know, videos, talking crap to each other and all of that, that made it so much fun. And then just watching Dan, I discovered more teams like, you know, the Misfits and Jay and seeing more women get into it. And then I was hooked. Yeah.
Now, are you just a competitive person by nature? I mean, is that something that really kind of drew you into it, the competitive aspect of it? Or are you more, were you a WWE fan? Were you just in it initially just for the trivia or?
It was mostly just for the trivia. I had watched a lot of wrestling as a kid with my brother until he tried to put me in a figure 4 headlock and almost broke my neck. And then I was kind of done with wrestling.
My brother does. I mean, don't do that. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So I kind of faded out of wrestling like at like 10, 11. But just the whole entertainment of it. And yeah, a little bit, I was not super competitive, but yeah, it was always the trivia because I always found myself to be a person who always wanted to know a lot more about movies, like what went into them and who did this and who did that. And I would always like watch a movie and then go on IMDb and like read all the trivia about the movie. I always found myself doing weird stuff like that. So that was what really drew me in, was the trivia.
But it was Dan Murrell, essentially, from Screen Junkies, that made you kind of click for you, where it was like, oh my gosh, now that's a competitor.
Yeah,
and that's like I said, I can see myself being.
Yeah, like all the build up before the match, like they would do all these videos, like talking shit and talking trash to each other, and I'm like, they seem like they really hate each other. This is going to be intense. Like,
especially, I mean, I don't know why, like you said, you didn't. You said your brother was more of the WWE fan. You weren't. I was in a very similar situation. My brother was a WWE fan. I wasn't. I didn't watch it all that much. And so I didn't really understand a lot of the interviews and everything. So for the first few months, I literally thought it was real.
Me too.
I thought they were like genuinely mean. And I just remember watching and be like, why are they so mean to each other?
Oh my God, is the Undertaker, is he really dead? Oh my gosh.
Well, I didn't think that, but when Ken Napzok he left the Nerds Watch, I was just like, why would he do that? Why would he be so mean about breaking up the team? I don't get it. I don't understand.
But I mean, it wasn't really until our boys came onto the scene that I was like, okay, I get the character stuff. This is what I want to do. This is what I try to be. Like when they asked me, hey, do you want to be a face or a heel? I was kind of like, I kind of want to be a heel because these boys make it look so fun.
It does. Yeah. There's just something so appealing about just being able to yell into the screen and like vent out a lot of that anger and frustration and be like, you guys suck.
Speaking of yelling into the screen, we have Belford here on the chat. What's up, Billy?
Hey, Billy.
And we have Danielle, our beautiful, wonderful co-host
Danny.
As well. So we got all the gang here. They're all here to say hi.
Hello, guys.
They're so good. They're wonderful. Oh, and also Action Cat is here.
Action Cat, hashtag Action Cat.
She's currently recording, so she decided that she wanted to pop up.
Hi.
No matter what, no matter when I'm recording, where I'm recording, she just
she knows.
She's like, you're talking to a camera, therefore I need to be right next to you. Okay, so you was essentially, like you said, like the Misfits and everything was like one of the first, like not just individuals but teams you were super excited about. And what is it about like the heel, not only being more fun, obviously,
yeah.
I mean, like, what was it about Team Action that made you be like, oh my gosh, now there's a fucking team?
Because it was like the complete opposite of me. So it was a fun challenge for myself to see if I could kind of do that and really have people believe that I was like evil. So yeah, it was just a fun challenge for myself because I've always been kind of an introvert, and it wasn't until I got a little bit older that I really was wanting to put myself out there. And so yeah, it was just kind of a fun personal challenge for myself, and like I said, they made it look so fun. And yeah.
So were you ever like looking in the mirror, being like throwing insults, pretending like you?
Oh yeah, like I would do.
Like you talking to me?
Yeah, like I would do reaction videos and like little fun videos hyping up their matches.
Are you saying there's videos out there of you reacting to
there are.
You guys, we have a mission.
Pretty sure there's a video out there of me singing. There's a video of me singing "The Danger Zone."
We need to find these videos. New mission. Machine Week.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have a video singing Danger Zone. I think, I was singing the Danger Zone to like promote a match that our boys were doing.
That's just good planning, and that's just good plans for sure. Absolutely. So essentially now, like you mentioned, being a fan, starting into competitor, joining Team Action, be like, you know what, that looks like pretty fun.
Yeah.
You know, what was it now? Did you know Christian beforehand? Did you go to a few matches before auditioning, or did you audition and then go? What was that process like?
So I was doing a lot of fan art for Screen Junkies. And then, like I said, when Dan jumped over and I really got into it, I started doing fan art for the Schmoedown. So I did.
What was your shirt that you did?
I think the first design I did was something for the Misfits. And then I did a Team Trek design for Inman and Mance, and they had really liked it. And then from there, Roca had asked me to do something for Top 10. And so once I had some of them kind of asking me for personal stuff, I would post it in the group. Christian saw it and he reached out to me and was like, hey, I love your designs. Can we use some of these in our TeePublic shop? So I'm like, sure. So that's kind of how I got connected with Christian, just through my art. Then I joined one of the reaction leagues. So I started like playing along with round one and posting my videos of reactions. I kind of was trying to get a little bit into character maybe, and have a little bit of fun with it. So I don't know. Assuming maybe Christian saw those too. I'm not too sure, because I would do pretty good. I would average maybe between like 5 and 7 points every time. So I was always doing okay. And then I went to LA Comic-Con and they had a panel there, Schmoedown panel. So I had already knew the Team Action guys because, you know, I was very active in their whole social world. I had already knew, you know, the Misfits because Brienne, you know, she had her film therapy show and stuff. So I was very active in all of her stuff as well. So they already kind of knew me ahead of time, Jay as well. But I don't think Christian really knew me because he never really saw me in person.
Yeah.
So when I went to the LA Comic-Con panel, I met everybody. And of course, you know, Jay, Drew, and Brienne all knew who I was, but Roka didn't really know who I was. Besides my art, Christian didn't really know who I was. So when I met all of them, I took pictures with them, said, hey, and then I posted all these pictures like, oh my gosh, it was so great. You know, I went from making fan art for these people to actually meeting them. And then Christian and like Roka totally scolded me. They're like, that was you? How come you didn't say anything? And I'm like, I was just nervous.
I feel like I heard that before. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just really nervous. I didn't know what to say. So then maybe like a couple weeks after that, Christian had put a post out saying, hey, I want to invite a bunch of reactors to come to Spectacular. And I was like, oh, well, you know, I'm just doing these small little reactions. I'm only playing along with round one. I'm not really a true reactor. So I'm probably not even going to be considered. So I replied to it with like a sad face. And then Christian immediately messaged me and was like, do you want to come to Spectacular? And I'm like, what? So he invited me to Spectacular. I went out there. I got to see the matches. So that was the Spectacular where Drew tackled Roka. And, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like jumping out of my seat, like, oh my gosh, what's going on? So
and
yeah.
So as a reactor, you knew not like obviously you didn't know nothing about that being planned or anything.
No.
That was like, completely new. Oh yeah. Wow.
So yeah, Christian just kind of put a post, hey, I want to invite reactors. And I didn't really consider myself a real reactor. So I didn't think, you know, I would be asked to come. So I just, you know, put a little sad face like, I'm not a real reactor. But then he emailed me right away and asked me to come. And so that's when I kind of met everybody. And I did a little interview with Emma. She was like, so why do you like Team Action? Because I was wearing my Team Action tank top that I had designed. And I was like, well, who doesn't love a bad boy? And like, I was so like nervous and awkward and weird. But it was crazy. And then literally a couple months after that, that's when I got an email, Christian, asking me if I wanted to compete.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
That is literally the dream come true. We're living through you, Jeannine.
Yep.
Yeah.
You really are.
All of Action Army
it was crazy. So
yeah.
it was crazy. So I don't know if somebody vouched for me. I don't know if he saw any of my reaction videos. I don't know if it was just, you know, just getting my foot in the door with my artwork. But yeah. So it was crazy.
Yeah, he must have, you know, also like a lot of the genuine love that you had for it at that point. I mean, like you're making art. I mean, you're hanging out. I mean, you're chatting with the fans. I mean, you're going to the LA Comic-Con and doing all this stuff. And at that point, you know, and you're making reactor videos. You're one of the first major reactors. I mean, at the time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so I mean, like now at that point it wasn't a huge deal yet. I mean, yeah, definitely it's a lot more normal. I mean, that's like what we are, obviously.
Yeah.
But, I mean, at that time you were definitely one of the OGs, right?
Yeah.
That's for sure.
There's like
like to think so, but
the party we had Sarah, and there was who else? There's Chris Clark, and that was it, basically.
Awesome.
There was like just 3 people. Actually, we have Danny on the chat asking about just a general question. How did you get into design? And how did you choose that into your, as opposed to like turning into like something where it's become more than a passion and, you know, submitting all those awesome things for Christian and
well, I never really knew what I wanted to do. Like I always kind of wanted to do like fashion design and something in art. So I went to school for a really long time just trying to figure things out. And then I took painting classes and drawing classes and I fell in love with them. But it wasn't until I took a digital art class and just saw like how easy I could do things and how I could create kind of whatever was in my head and just put it on to the screen that I fell in love with digital art. So I was just a huge fan of Screen Junkies and I saw people were sending in fan art and stuff like that. So I thought, you know, I could do that too. Like I love this and I want to show them, you know, that I appreciate what they do, you know, in entertaining me. So I want to give something back to them and be creative about it. So that's when I started just kind of getting into doing fan art. And then, yeah, I mean, I loved all the teams. And so I wanted to do something cool for them as well. And that's kind of how all of that came about.
Outside of Schmoedown and Screen Junkies, is there anything else, is there any fan art or anything coming out from you, like regarding a movie or TV show or anything?
Well, I do get commissions from people for like different podcast type stuff. I just did some work for my own podcast that I have. It's called Morgan Hasn't Seen. My friend Morgan, he has not seen a lot of things, like surprising things. So it kind of came about that he had seen like 6 movies in the MCU before Endgame. So yeah, so I made him watch them, and then we
talked. Living under a rock?
Yeah, like he saw all of them except like 6 early ones. So I made him watch them, and we actually discussed them, and we thought this could be a kind of a cool podcast. So that's my show that I make him watch like a series of related movies, and then we discuss them. So that was the most recent thing I've done. So kind of just doing stuff for myself right now. But yeah,
it sounds like you've had to almost create your own opportunities, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what happened with the Schmoedown. Like, that's how I kind of got my foot in the door, was basically just sharing my passion with them, and it kind of grew into this craziness.
Well, I mean, being part of the Schmoedown, I mean, like you said, as a Fan 2 competitor, you know, you really kind of jumped head first. I mean, you started it right out the gates with 2 awesome matches, especially as a debut player. I remember everyone being like, who is this chick? Where did she come from?
Yeah.
What is reactors are a thing? That could be more than just reactors? What?
Yeah.
You know, so it's, you know, and I think obviously you're one of the people that really kind of fuel fire to that, obviously. Now you didn't start as a single. It seemed like you jumped right into working with Jay, and you've been with him ever since.
Yeah.
You know, what's that relationship been like?
So I had a great rapport with Jay because, you know, I was a huge fan of the Misfits and Brienne and Stacy. And so I was always kind of like tweeting at them and really involved with what they were doing. So I got to get a really good rapport with Jay just on social media. So Christian kind of gave me the option, like, who would you want to work with? And I was like, well, obviously, you know, I said our guys or Jay, because I love what he's been doing with the Misfits. You know, he's this great voice box for these awesome ladies. And I need a great voice box because, like I said, I'm totally shy and awkward in times. And like, you know, this is all new for me. So I need someone who can like really hone in on, you know, getting me out of my shell a little bit more.
Actions are shy is definitely not the word. Quiet or chill.
Yeah. You're not feeling that. You're not getting that from me.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's an intimidating process for sure.
Yes. So when he gave me the option, Jay was definitely like top of my list. And so that's kind of how that whole thing came about. And then, you know, he got sick, and it was literally like days before my match. And I'm like, are you going to be okay? I mean, if, you know, obviously I totally understand if, you know, you can, or we need to reschedule or whatever. He's like, no, I'll be there. Like literally 3 days out of the hospital. He was like, no, I'll be there. I'm like, are you sure? Like,
that's,
you know, you literally almost died, and you're going to
bandage on his head. And we were like, what the fuck is he doing? Yeah. You need to be in bed.
Yeah.
Like, why are you here?
You know, his throat was still like whistling from the tracheotomy that he had. Like, yeah, dude had a hole in his throat. And like literally, 3 days out of the hospital, he was there. My very first match. I mean, like, I will never forget him stepping up for me like that after what he had been through. So that was kind of like instant bond right there. So I knew he was always going to have my back, and I needed that support.
Like you and him genuinely not only just have like a really good, you know, relationship as a manager competitor, but, you know, I mean, just as, you know, as people, he's obviously, just being on social media, you can tell he's just such a really awesome, great guy. But also like the relationship you guys have, again, it just feels very genuine. Like, you know, he really kind of took you under his wing, and he really is able to kind of help you out, kind of ease you through this whole situation. You know, how is he like, as actually not only as just as a friend, but as a manager per se? Does he help with the training process? Does he do check-ins? Does he help you be like just random? Does he text you random questions in the middle and I'd be like, you have 5 minutes or what?
No, like he'll quiz me before matches and just kind of keep me fresh. He'll just tell me to stay calm. He's like, you know what you're doing. Just play the game. Just, forget all the rest and just play the game. If I'm focused on something else, he's focusing on other things so I can kind of do what I need to do. Like even in New York, like that was a huge thing. And I don't think I would have gotten that challenge had he not like really been focusing and paid attention to how that question was asked and all of that. And he got that challenge for me in New York. So that was like another big thing of, he's paying attention. So if I'm focused on like answering a question or what's going on or keeping up with character or whatever, he's there paying attention to everything else so he can have my back. He can step in when he needs to step in, so that's always a huge help.
Well, you it's like you mentioned, I mean, you've been part of this really fantastic faction. I mean, you're partners with Ethan Irwin. I mean, come on.
That's nuts. It's nuts.
That's fantastic. Former belt holder.
Yes.
In
such a short time, like
it's nuts. And not to mention, I mean, like I remember when word got out that you guys were gonna be a team, everyone was like, oh my gosh, they are gonna be a future teams league belt holders. Definitely, for sure. I mean, like, Jeannine, you're so talented in so many different ways. Sometimes, the wheel doesn't go in your favor, whatever it may be, but, it's so obvious. Like when you're there, it's just like right there on the tip of your tongue or whatever the situation is.
I'm always just so close yet so far. But, I feel like I have that potential on my side and, I'm always so close and I'm right there. So I'm doing what I need to do to just get myself better because I know I can do it.
Yeah, it was like you're clearly immensely talented when it comes to that.
I just want to say, jump in real quick. Like now that Andrejko's a title holder, I think I would say that you're probably the top of the ones that are one of the best players in the league right now who have yet to hold the belt. So I do definitely see that in the future coming up soon.
Thank you so much.
I also have a quick question from Belfort here.
Okay.
He said, what was your first fan interaction like? And what was it like realizing that, wow, you have like a fan page and just like getting all that attention that you made, like just that initial shock of like, wow, this is a real thing instead of it just being a fun, like, playing along and reacting to it, being like you're on the show and you have fans, you have the factory fan page, all that.
Well, one of the ones I really remember is actually James. He had asked if I could do like a quick interview with him, but I was so busy at one of the live shows that I kind of just, ran up to him real quick, did a quick interview with him. He was so thankful and appreciative. And I'm like, I'm just like this weird girl. Like, why does he want to talk to me? So that was an early one. But also I went to London for the Top 10 live taping. And, I thought, of course there's going to be Schmoedown fans there, Roka knows, but I figure it's mostly going to be Top 10 podcast fans. So maybe I'll get one or two people recognizing me. And
one or two?
Whatever. So I go there and after the show, everyone's kind of like hanging out in the lobby and Roka's like talking. He's got all these people around him and he said something and I chimed in and everyone turned around and was like, oh my gosh, is that the machine? Like, oh, the machine's here, what? And so then I kind of go back to my little corner with my friend Morgan and people start coming up to me and they're like, oh my gosh, you're the machine. Can I take a picture with you? Oh my gosh, I was sitting next to you inside. I can't believe I was sitting next to the machine. Like all these people like throwing their cameras at my poor friend Morgan, making him take pictures. And like, yeah, all these London fans like knew who I was and wanted to talk to me and were just like telling me, oh my gosh, it's so great to see a lady in the league. And so that was like a huge thing for me to realize like, wow, I like have fans this far out in freaking London. Like, this is crazy.
Let's be honest. They weren't all just from London. There was people from Finland and France and Italy.
Yes.
So,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. That's awesome. But I mean, not sorry, what am I saying about? So I mean, it sounds like it was it just kind of hit you out of nowhere. You didn't realize you were a fan favorite for a while. Is that right?
Yes, it took some time to really, because I'm just my dorky self. Like, I don't know why people want to talk to me. Like, I've been in the league for over a year now. Like, I don't have any belts. I'm not a number one contender. Like, there are so many amazing like performers and competitors. So it's like it's still like hard to process like why people like, oh my gosh, the machine. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I mean, something I noticed is that I just see that you're very involved, with pages. You're always posting, not only from the beginning, designing and, but, even from the beginning with the Action Army, and on the main page, you always had like posts and stuff. So I think it makes it a lot easier for fans to kind of be accessible, and when someone is open to it and kind of just reaches out to them and makes it feel like, you could just be anybody and you can hop on and stuff.
Yeah, like I'm still a fan, so I still like to be in there talking about the matches, talking with other fans about the game, and yeah, I don't feel like anything's changed in that aspect. Like, I still feel like a fan of the show and what they do, and especially now I'm in it and I see how hard people work, what people put into this. It makes me appreciate it even more.
Mm-hmm. Well, like you mentioned, you describe yourself as someone that's shy. It's your dorky self, like you say. I call bullshit on that. I mean, especially based on the fact that when you do entrances, you go hardcore. And so
I do, and that was a huge inspiration also from the Misfits, because I didn't really see at that time a lot of people really doing big fun entrances like that, and that's what made me fall in love with them. Like, they went out there, they had fun with it, just dressing up and getting into character like full on, and I wanted to do that too, because it just looked like so much fun. So
I mean, why not? I do wish, like Bibbs has like mentioned. I mean, like I remember when he what was it? He made that little room for himself for players to just come on by be like, with entrances, I'm over here. For ideas or just whatever it may be, whatever you need, I'm right here.
Yeah.
And you're also like, you're one of those other people that, aside from bids, as well, obviously, that's really like took it to the next level. Do you have a favorite entrance personally that you've done, or also most difficult, to create, so to speak? Because like a lot of them are very involved.
Yes. Probably Misty is my favorite. It was a pretty simple outfit, but just the steps to figure out how to do this arm was yes. Because I mean, it's a red shirt, it's some jeans, it's some like 70s style boots, some hoop earrings, like some froey hair. Like, I can do all of that. But her iconic thing is her freaking bionic arm. How am I gonna like do this? So that was also probably a very tricky thing to figure out. So I was trying to figure out, like, is there like a printed sleeve I can get? Should I just like wrap my whole arm in like foil tape? Like, what do I do? I found like an arm that somebody had made, but it was like, I don't know, like $500 or something crazy like that. Like, yeah. So just to take the steps to figure out how to make a bionic arm and make it look cool, that was pretty tricky.
Is that your favorite and the most difficult?
Yes, for sure. Yeah,
and I just have to say, as somebody who cosplays casually for like the Comic-Con events and anime conventions, I have to say that I love seeing your designs and stuff like that. I remember when I saw the mallet for the Harley Quinn. I was like, whoa, how'd you do that? I was thinking out from like a designer point of view, the costume side. So I was just like,
yeah, no, I had already had that for. I made it for a very elaborate Halloween costume, so I already had that in my. Yeah.
Since you are so involved, obviously, do you see yourself helping out with other competitors with their entrances all that much? I mean, have you already helped other competitors with their entrances, or?
Not so much in that aspect. I would like to. I mean, because I feel like I come at it from a different way than Bibiani. Like, his entrances are very thoughtful and involved. And mine are just kind of like find something cool, find the right music, find the right elements to build, you know, a look upon, where he's like very like thought process and effects. And so, I mean, yeah, if people needed help with entrances, I would be happy to help with that.
Yeah. Well, let's say we also have another question regarding entrances from Belford. So if you could design an entrance for another player, for another competitor who oh, sorry. Oh,
Action cat.
Oh no! I just got a fly through my mouth. Oh
no! Oh, are you okay? Oh.
This is what.
Oh, sorry.
This is what we got live.
Okay. Oh God, that was so gross. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, no. Okay, I have to go brush my
teeth. All right, so I'm going to continue on with the question that you were saying.
I promise I'm not abandoning. That was just so gross.
So what we're going off about, like how you were saying, if anyone were to ask, you know, if you could help design entrance, who would you like to be like? Which entrance would you like to help design with which competitor?
Well, I am very good friends with Inky of Inky and the Brain, Rachel Silvestrini. So I've constantly been telling her I would love for her to do a John Wick operator entrance. Like she's got all the tats, you know, she does like that classic kind of style, that vintage style. So I could see her rocking that so hard, coming out to that awesome John Wick music. Yeah. I would love that with the headsets, the pink, you know, blouse, the fitted pencil skirt, all her tats just showing, the pearl necklace, you know, a cute 50s pinup do, like, for sure.
And I don't know what we would do with Devin, but
Devin could be John Wick. I think he could pull it off. Just wear a nice suit, have the gun, you know,
and it'd be like
a stuffed dog.
Homage to the Kingsman. I mean, he could go into a British character.
Exactly.
So we were talking about just like, you know, in general, like we were going about teams. And you know, Time Machine was kind of like you had that since Anarchy. And you know, it's just the initial of like, you know, the build up for that, and now like it coming full circle, like having him not only join the Viper squad, and now, you know, officially getting your first match out of the way, which was, you know, one of the best like single matches we've had, you know, not like a contending match. So I mean, how did that process go? You know, from going to the War Machine and then having actually the Time Machine.
Well, when I saw the announcement, I was so excited because I felt like, wow, we are really going to complement each other, because I think our knowledge bases are a little bit opposite. So we could definitely fill gaps for each other. And Ethan, of course, a former champ, and he's just like a super nice, great dude. So I was super excited. So then when it was kind of coming to it and our schedules just didn't line up, I was super disappointed. So then I was actually going to get teamed with Drew Guy.
Wow.
And he even came up with a great name for us. We were going to be the Money of Color. But then when we were going to tape, then he had to be out of town. I think that's maybe when he went to Japan or so then that didn't work out. So then literally the day of my match, I met Brian Walton. And that's kind of what happened. But yeah, just to kind of finally have us together and compete. It's been a long time coming. I was super excited. And yeah, like him and me were actually playing along to another match in the audience, and we kind of looked at each other, and like I knew the ones he didn't know and he knew the ones I didn't know. We're like, oh yeah, this is going to work out pretty good. So, and he called me the night before, and we kind of talked about our plan. Like, what are we going to pick? What will we pick for our opponents if we get, you know, spinner's opponent's choice? Like, what are we, you know, so we were kind of making a plan, talking everything out. So I feel like this is going to be a really great team going forward, and I'm super excited. So I mean, I did have some like nerves that, you know, maybe I wasn't gonna be good enough to be with a competitor like Ethan, but he totally put me at ease, and Jay kind of brought us together, and I just feel like we get along really well. And like I said, we definitely fill those gaps. So I think it's going to be a really great matchup.
Right. and then getting to play against Paddington 2 twice.
Again,
Never
yeah.
that easy. Never that easy playing against them. But
well, revenge is sweet. You know.
Yes.
That's for sure. That was such an awesome match. I mean, it was a really cool match. It's also, I mean, it was definitely one of those matches. Because I feel like I didn't watch it at least for several days. I felt like I didn't watch it for a while, personally, since I was away. But I remember watching. When I did watch it for the first time, I remember being like, it feels like a young match for you guys as a team. Obviously you guys have played many matches individually, but as a team, you guys have not played all that much.
Yeah, and it was new a team. The whole just dynamic was the dynamic was different for us as well, because he only had the one teams match as well with Sabina. So just kind of learning how all of that works and a whole different kind of process to doing things, that was a really unique, different thing. So that was kind of cool. And for the record, I just want to say, for that very first question where I answered Chevy Chase, I literally heard them say 80s movie, The Creditor. And I'm like, The Creditor? I've never heard of this. This sounds like some like screwball comedy that would star Chevy Chase. And then when everyone answered Carl Weathers, I'm like, oh, holy shit, they said The Predator. Oh my gosh. And I answered Chevy Chase. So
that shit happens.
So whether it be nerves or whatever, I didn't explain why I answered Chevy Chase for a Predator question. Just to clear the air, I thought they said Predator. So it's a running joke now with all of my friends that, hey, have you checked out that 80s movie, The Creditor?
What's friendship if not just
to mock you shamelessly?
Exactly.
Exactly.
I was like, well, something I did want to ask. I mean, like now, like you're really starting. You're being part of not only Jay, Ethan. You guys are forming this really awesome faction.
Yes.
I'm hesitant to call it a baby faction, like the dungeon they are right now, because I feel like they're a baby faction, being a young faction as they are. Because Jay is such a seasoned competitor, manager, obviously. I'm hesitant to call your faction one a young, like a rookie faction, so to speak. But I mean, you guys are you are a young team, obviously, and you're a very small team as well. Do you see any new players that you think has potential to join your faction?
Well, we don't have any really inner geekdom players in our faction. And Kevin is deep with the dungeon. He is not leaving Kaiser anytime soon, nor should he, because they are great together. But I do have my eye on the hitman, Brandon Hanna.
Right. That's who I was thinking would be a good fit.
Yeah. He has one match under his belt. He knocked everyone out. He played awesome. I personally see like what he's putting into,
he's
really
also
preparing
a fellow action fan.
Yes, for sure.
Raider, but I digress.
Yes. I think he can be forgiven. And
I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever may be. But yeah, I can definitely understand. He's clearly a competitor to be watched. I mean, he knocked several competitors out. A few competitors that already have played prior. Keaton Marchi as well. So he's definitely not one to sleep on for sure.
No.
And since both you and Ethan are obviously competing in not only teams but in singles as well, Ethan has yet to do so. I believe I can't remember the schedule, if he is on the schedule or not, coming up pretty soon, or if he is focusing exclusively on teams. But yeah, do you guys see any other players like Lightning Liz joining or anything like that?
Definitely Liz, because she is actually good friends with Ethan. He's kind of her into the Schmoedown, and she's done great so far. I could definitely, and I would love to have another lady. That's kind of how that whole squad started, was ladies. So to have another really great, awesome chick in there, that would be awesome. So yeah, for sure.
I can see that. Yeah, for sure. There can be some good chemistry.
Yeah,
for sure. Absolutely. And so now, since you guys are, what other teams do you see yourself playing against? Like in an ideal world. what team would you in your fantasy world? What team would you like to see you guys play up against? It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be today. It doesn't have to be next week. But I mean, down the road, or
Oh,
current
that's an
team or
that's an
fantasy.
easy one. That's definitely an easy one. I mean, to get redemption in one shot with corruption, like
You know what? They're going down. I mean, I respect Kalinowski and
I do.
everything he's
I'd have
done.
tons of respect for him for
You
sure.
can't deny the
No,
talent and the amount of genuine love. Again, not only you obviously have for the league, but also he does. Like he's been so in it,
passionate. Like
passionate
I've
about
had
it for a long time.
conversations with him. Like I talked to all the competitors like outside of, the game. Like we'll go out, we'll hang out. And he's one of the few competitors that even outside of it, when we're just downtime hanging out, he's still talking about the Schmoedown. Like he's talking about the game nonstop. So he loves it. He has a passion for it and he's great at what he does.
He's making all these random posts being like, while they're sleeping, I'm training.
Yeah. And I kind of gotten
notes on like The Last Jedi or something.
Yeah. No, I've seen his little binder. I've seen him preparing. Like it's crazy. So, he's impressive for sure. But yeah, like down the line, like to get that win over Chance and him all at once, that would be a beautiful thing for me. So
now, alternatively, what former team what former team, again, fantasy world, would you like to go up against?
Like team that doesn't exist anymore?
Yeah, it could be top 10. It could be above the line.
Maybe actually the Misfits.
Oh, okay.
Like the entrances would be spectacular, I think.
Oh my gosh, that would have been fantastic.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it wouldn't have been any kind of ill will or anything. It would have just be pure fun, I think. Yeah, for sure.
Oh my gosh! Now I kind of want that just to be like match or something over like bombs or something.
Yeah.
Now I did ask. Actually, speaking of exhibition matches and rom-coms and everything, now I actually asked that to Silvestrini a while ago. What exhibition match would you like to see happen? Obviously we had in February, we have for Black History Month. We had
that was so fun.
Good. Oh my gosh, it was
right?
So great. It just really kind of brought to light that we need more exhibition matches. I mean, if we can. I mean, we already ask a lot of competitors and Christian, Mark, and everything. But we want as much as we can get. What kind of exhibition matches would you love to see or be a part of?
Actually, I'm not like a huge Star Trek person, but I'm seeing like some of my inner geekdom friends really delving into Star Trek, and I would love to see like two really great Trek competitors do an Iron Man, because like even though it's not something I'm super into, like watching like Star Wars, like seeing those kind of Iron Man matches just go head to head and crazy like that would be really fun, I think, because it's not something a lot of people know. And so to see kind of that knowledge really go crazy would be fun. But for me, definitely would be rom-coms. Like I already have like a fun entrance in my brain I would love to do. Me and Rachel have talked about it. We would love to do a match, her and me versus Guy and Makuga, because we love rom-coms. Like that would be ridiculously fun.
I would
sign me up for that
on my Patreon right now for that.
Yeah. And for it to not even have made that poll that they put up like a couple months back, like rom-coms was not even on that poll. And
I don't understand. I remember like trying to make that an option or something at some point, but I don't think fans could at the time.
I think
costume dramas was on the poll.
Lame. What?
Yeah. I don't know who's page on the list.
Yeah. Danny, do you have any fans making any suggestions?
No one in the chat, but I mean, we have Danny ask about the Dream Team. Someone is here on the chat would like an Action Army faction. What else we have here?
I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
I would also love to see an action adventure exhibition match. I'm
Yep.
I would love to see that happen, especially coming from, from Ben and Drew. Heck, I don't know if Makuga would be in there, but I can definitely see that happening.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
A girl can dream. A girl can dream.
Yes, one day.
One day. So I mean, let's say obviously a lot of things coming up. I mean, we're just wrapping up, Machine Week with you, and you've gone from being a fan to a rookie competitor to a top competitor. Is there anything you're doing right now to kind of take it to the next level where you see yourself really kind of? Do you have any goals for yourself to really kind of take yourself to the next level, Jeannine?
Well, I've whipped out the spreadsheets, so that's what I'm delving into, just kind of breaking down my knowledge and really writing things down, because I was kind of just like watching things and looking and be like, okay, yeah, it's in my head now.
Yeah.
But really just kind of going over things constantly, writing things down. On my Patreon, I do study sessions with some of my patrons. So they send me questions and ask me. I tell friends and whoever just to send me random questions. Now that I have my fan page, The Factory, I'll put questions up there. Hey, just send me some questions. So that's always constant, just keeping myself up to date on everything, because singles is really hard to study for. Like, I'm not saying Inner Geekdom is easy to study for, but like, what movies you're gonna get.
Yeah, it's a little more rigid.
Yeah, you know exactly what movies you're gonna get. Whereas singles, you can get anything and everything.
Every decade, every genre. Absolutely.
So every day it's just kind of making a plan of who am I gonna study today. I need to take notes. I need to write this down. I need to watch these movies. So I try to watch one movie. I every day try to do a movie maybe I haven't seen. But it's just kind of making a plan to just really focus on the things that I'm not very strong in, and refresh on the things that I am. So
And plus, not only that, when you are like, and it's like who you're going to match against, you have to study your opponent too. So not only are not on top of you're studying all the trivia, you actually have to prepare on you have to prepare for them, that they're going to actually be studying, and like focus on what kind of strategy you have to do when choosing the wheel round and things like that. So
for sure. I remember for a while when I first started watching watching Schmoedown matches, I remember thinking, why would like players need to train by watching old matches with players? And then I watched a match with Roka and another player, and I think it was Achity or something, and he chose biopics for it's like his opponent's choice. And I was like, oh, that's why. And it's because he didn't watch prior matches. He didn't realize that's one of his major strengths, obviously, like, with Westerns, so but that's a huge deal, that's for sure. So you definitely got to be on top of it, but definitely. Do you have any like favorite like individual players that you, outside of like competing against or anything like that, do you just like enjoy just watching as a fan still? Like
well, of course,
newer players?
Kevin Smets for sure. I was there for his first match, and like, I wasn't sure what to expect from him. It was kind of a silent killer, and him just going out there and just the things he knew. And I remember him spinning the wheel, and he got something that like people always spin away from in Inner Geekdom. I can't remember what it was. I think it was release dates, I think it was. And he like was like, I'm sticking with it, like without even hesitation. And I'm like, whoa, because if people get release dates, if people usually get Trek or something like that, they always spin away. But to see him like stick on something that people always avoid without even a thought, I was like, okay, this guy's scary good. I want to watch him. I want to see what he can do. And he's just like a great person. So for sure. I have my eyes on Smats for sure. Yeah. And Kaiser's just hilarious. He's a great manager. Like, I love seeing him and Jay go at it. So yeah. the
Are they like
dungeon.
that in person? They're just like that guy.
He is.
He's like he's like if Makuga had a cousin from New Jersey.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
That's really into boxing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But yeah,
being the resident co-host from New Jersey, I can say that.
I have no doubt. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, tell us. I mean, you obviously have a million and one things going on, Jeannine. Do you have any upcoming projects? You know, things going on right now. I know you did have an art exhibit not too long ago. I think it's been about to say last month. I want to say. You know, we would love to hear about anything you have going on here pretty soon.
So yeah, I'm kind of just doing some podcast stuff right now. So like I said, my show with my friend Morgan, we just finished up a Men in Black / Will Smith series leading up to the new Men in Black because he hadn't seen any Men in Black movies.
What?
Yeah, and now we're on to my favorite thing that like I don't think he is very excited about, the Fast and Furious series. So we're gonna watch the whole series leading up to Hobbs and Shaw. He is not looking forward to it. He has not seen any of those
movies, but all that much. But I can appreciate them for what they are.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, like even if my husband Lucas, he watched Armageddon for the first time. And he's like, I know. He watched it like yesterday. He's going through he was watching movies on like movies in space. So he watched like Contact, Armageddon, Cocoon, Apollo 13. And anyway, regardless, and he's like, I never saw Armageddon, and because he knows I love Armageddon. It's like my jam. And he's like, I don't get it, but I could appreciate it.
That it's so silly.
Ridiculousness. And it acknowledges it. I mean,
right?
Machine gun in space.
Exactly. So I'm hoping he can embrace these movies. Like the last movie in our whole Men in Black series was we picked a Will Smith movie, that he hadn't seen as a kind of our bonus episode, and we watched Independence Day. So it was kind of hard for him because he's British. He had never seen it. Just to kind of get that whole crazy like America patriotism, like, oh my God. Yeah. So that was kind of a funny thing. So going into these movies, we're going to have our first episode for our Fast and Furious series on Wednesday. So
can't wait.
So we're going to talk about 1 and 2. So we'll see what he thought of them, and we'll go through the whole series. And then I'm making him watch Hobbs and Shaw, which he's dreading, but it should be.
You know, I don't care what he says. I mean, it's going to be a great time.
Right?
It's going to be a great time.
Yes. It looks ridiculously fun. So
maybe pretty soon enough, I'm sure we're going to get the Fast and Furious in space. We're going to get some cars. So maybe we might ultimately get
like Mission Impossible. Like, what else can they do?
Crossover Armageddon. Maybe they have to save the world driving their cars in space. Who knows?
They literally dragged a submarine over ice. With a car.
Yeah. Set the ice on fire. Like, it was crazy. So I can't wait till we get there. It's going to be interesting. So
not to mention, I can't picture like an actor more suited for a franchise. So, like, it's impossible. Like, between Vin Diesel and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, like, personal stuff aside between them, you know, The Rock, I mean, he's perfect for that franchise.
They know what movies they're in, and they're just living it up, and that's why you can get behind it. I'm totally here for it. So
that should be a category on the Schmoedown. That should be a category. It's like movies that know what they are.
Right? Exhibition match of Fast and Furious. I would love to be in a Fast and Furious exhibition match. Like,
oh my gosh.
Right? Okay, that'd be ridiculous.
Make that happen. Please.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
I pay for that for sure.
Yeah. So kind of delving deep into my podcast right now. I'm actually helping Morgan out with his podcast. It's a wonderful podcast. His recent co-hosts kind of had some personal things and had to step away. So I've been guesting on that quite a bit. But yeah. And then you may see me in some of these Schmoedown tourneys coming up. So we'll see.
Dun, dun, dun.
We shall see.
Danny, do you have any final questions from any of minutes?
I think we covered a lot. We were just talking mostly about, I think that was what we wanted to say about, and just, just how much we appreciate you. I mean, we have the Jeannine Appreciation Week, but I mean, it really should be more than just a week. But
oh, thank you.
So and let's see if we have anything else in here in the chat.
And we dig the purple, by the way.
Oh, fox.
Yeah. Oh, just not really. We don't have really anybody else in the chat saying anything.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you again so much. This has been a hoot and a half.
Well, thank you for having me. This was really fun.
It was fantastic. I can't imagine a better competitor to hang out and chat with. Talk shop. It's been a hoot for sure. All right, Danny.
Yep. So I guess we're gonna call it a quit. Would you like to plug any of your plug your podcast? You said that's on Wednesdays, you said?
Yeah, so find Morgan Hasn't Seen on the It's a Wonderful podcast feed on all the places podcasts are found: Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, YouTube on the It's a Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel. I have a Patreon at Jeannine LC, so you can come and see what fun stuff I have going on over there. I do Machine Mondays on Trivia SD every Monday. Put out an article today. I got all up in my feelings about the mic match and my headspace that day, and just what I'm
like this, by the way.
Yes, perfect. I designed that logo too, so hey. And yeah, I have a tea shop on TeePublic at G9 Design, so you can see my designs there. Get this lovely machine design. Yeah, so I got lots of stuff and things happening. So yeah.
Awesome. And Alex, do you have anything to plug too?
Yeah, actually, I just got back from our trip, so I'm gonna be back on Twitter. So I'm super psyched to get that going again. It's gonna be awesome. You can check us out at the Call to Action Pod on Twitter. And if you're checking us out on Twitter, you're checking out with me. You're hanging out with us. So I'm all about it. If you're messaging through them, you're messaging me. So heads up, I will get sassy. So just want to give you a forewarning. But also you can check us out on the numerous Facebook groups that we are all a part of. Jeannine, you've been involved with, obviously. Yes, so we have not only, obviously, not our individual ones, the Call to Action, but we have the Action Army. We have, Action Industries. Definitely check them out. If you're not liking that page, get on that shit. It is gonna,
check out some of the live streams that
so much good stuff
on Action Industry. Get on some of those live streams. Those are really fun.
Yeah.
They're just 200 episode stream not that long ago.
The live episodes have been so much fun so far. We just had our 200th episode. Well, not we, but the guys have with Action Industry 200th episode. So that was pretty fantastic. You were there in the chat.
Yes, I was.
Yes, you were. And so that was pretty fun. But also, the Jeannine the Machine's, page on the factory, that whole group is pretty awesome. We're a pretty great group. Also, last but not least, the Movie Trivia Schmoedown fan page. If you're watching the show and you're not on that page, why the fuck not? You need to get your shit together because it is the fucking best.
Yes.
And I am totally biased being a fan. But, who cares? Essentially. But yeah, please get involved. Like, share, retweet, all the stuff,
Yes, all the things, please.
All the stuff. All the links, all the tweets, the Twitters, and yeah. Anyway, but I need to stop ahead because I probably sound like I'm drunk, even though I'm not.
Also,
yeah.
And also, guys, make sure to follow Ben Bateman Media, and you got Andrew Guy. Action Movie Anatomy just did their review on Spider-Man Far From Home. So go ahead and check that out. And hashtag Schmoedown Nashville. We got to make that happen for all our Midwest friends. So let's do that. And you can find me and lastly, you can find me on Twitter on DKPKP. And just follow me on all the matches, and you'll see me here in New York. So I hope to see you guys all there. Once again, thank you to Jeannine for coming on the show. We loved
Thank
having you,
you.
and hopefully, good luck with everything. And we're definitely going to see great things from you. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
All right, awesome.
All right,
Thanks
guys.
again, Jeannine. We will see you soon.
Bye.